Good morning, Year 4. Today is Tuesday the 26th of January, and if you have the Year 4 booklet, then this video is for you. Now, today we're going to be looking at page 12, and this will be multiplication, okay? So if you've got access to a times table grid or you have your planner at home, you can use the times table sheet in the back to help you. But I know that we're superstars at our times tables, and I'd like you to give it a go on your own, okay? But please feel free to use those things if you need to. Okay, before we start, our learning question today is, can I apply my knowledge of multiplication? Okay, now before we start, I've just got a quick little activity that I'd like you to have a go at just to warm our brains up before we start. So this is called the odd one out, and I've got 3 different arrays, okay? And I want you to figure out which one is the odd one out, and I want you to explain how you know this, okay? So if you've got someone with you, you can explain it to them, or if you're doing this on your own, then you can write it down, okay? So I've got 3 different arrays made out of different blocks. You need to figure out which one is the odd one out. So pause the video, have a go, and then we'll come back and then you can have a look as to whether you were right or not, okay? So if you pause here for a couple of seconds and then press play when you are done. Okay, so looking at the answers, if you said that it was the array in the middle, then you would have been right. Now this is because our first array is 3 by 4, and we know that 3 times 4 is 12. This array is 2 by 5, and we know that 2 times 5 is 10, so there are 10 blocks here. And this one is 2 by 6, and 2 times 6 is also 12. So array number 1 and array number 2, array number 1 and array number 3, sorry, both have 12 blocks. So the odd one out is the middle array, because we know that 2 times 5 is 10. Okay, so looking at today's task, now that we've warmed our brains up, I'm going to go through the questions with you, and you can work them out as we go if you want to, so you can pause after each question, or you can watch the video through and then have a go at tackling them yourself, okay? So make sure you've turned to page 12 and we will start. So work out the missing numbers in these multiplication facts. Now, I know that a lot of you are excellent at your times tables, so this would be great for you just to revisit times tables, to have a look at which ones you're finding tricky, and then you know which ones you need to practice. If you aren't feeling too comfortable with your times tables, then this is a great activity because it's going to help you become a little bit more confident with them, okay? So I've highlighted the words missing numbers because this is the bit in the question that we need to figure out, okay? So you've got 9 sentences that you need to find the missing numbers to. Now, question 1 I think is going to be super simple for you to have a go at, because you're just finding what the missing squares are, okay? Now, if you're confident with your times tables, then this should be an easy peasy activity. If you aren't too confident, I recommend that you have a go at answering the ones that you do know on your own, and then having a look on a times tables grid or your times tables sheet in the back of your planners to help you with this one, okay? So the first one, 7 times 6, we know is 42, so you just write your answer in there like that, okay? Now with B, it's looking for one of the numbers that make up 63. So what do you times by 9 to get 63? You're going to pop it in there. Same for C. Okay, so 8 times something equals 64. Now, I've taught all of you a rhyme if you're in my maths class. So if you know that rhyme, then that question should be so easy for you to complete. and then you're just going to work your way through the rest of the questions, and you're going to be filling in the blanks, okay? So if you want to pause here, you can fill out this section and then you can move on to question 2, or you can carry straight on with myself onto question 2. Okay, so question 2 is asking you to complete the multiplication chart. Now, a lot of you have seen one of these before when we've done our practice times tables tests in school. So you should be superstars as to how you need to fill this out. But if you need some help, I'm going to explain it anyway, so do not worry. So I have circled 3 and 2. Now I know that 3 times 2, I know the answer to it, it's 6. But I need to make sure that I'm putting it in the correct space on my grid. So I'm just going to get my highlighter. 3 times 2 would go in here, okay? So if you can see that cross there, that's where your answer would go for 3 times 2, okay? Just rub that out. So 3 times 2 is 6, okay? 5 times 2 I would write in here, so that would be 10, like that. And then 7 times 2 is 14, okay? And then you go across to your next one, 3 times 6, 5 times 6, 7 times 6, and so on until you've completed the grid, okay? So that's all you're doing for that one. You're just going through your multiples and you're filling the chart out with the different multiplication facts, okay? Now, if you are stuck, say for example, you don't know what 7 times 9 is, have a look, okay? Because we need to be practicing these anyway, so don't worry if you're not sure. Okay, question 3. Fill in the boxes with a 0 or a 1. So you've got to complete these 3 questions. You've got the answers to all of them. You just need to use your knowledge of the multiplication rules for when you multiply by 0 or by 1, okay? So I've written a couple of sentences to explain the different rules, okay? So I've asked, what do we know about multiplying by 1 and 0? Now, when we multiply by 1, we know the number always stays the same. So 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3. So you can see the pattern that it's going up by 1 each time, but the number that you're multiplying 1 with stays the same, okay? However, when we multiply by 0, the answer isn't going to change at all. It's going to always be 0, okay? So if you did 1 times 0, the answer would be 0. 2 times 0, the answer would be 0. So the pattern there is just that 0 is the answer every time. So when you multiply by 0 on its own, you are always going to get the number 0, okay? Now it does not matter where these numbers appear in the multiplication sentence, because the answer will always be the same, and that's the case for all multiplication sentences. When you swap the numbers around during multiplication, the answer will be the same. So if you were to do 12 times 2, it would be 24. If you did 2 times 12, it would also be 24, okay? So I hope that that makes sense. Now you've only got 3 questions for this one, and if you look at the answers very carefully, you will actually see that they are the same or different to the ones at the start of the sentence. Now, if they are the same, what does that mean? What number must it be in that blank square? If the answer is 0, looking at the rule that we've just discussed, what is it going to be multiplied by? Okay, so have a think about that one and have a good go, okay? Now, I'm sure you'll all be superstars at this one because we can recognise patterns really well in our maths lessons. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to grasp this one quite quickly, okay? Question 4. Can I fill in the missing numbers in these charts? Now, I'm going to explain a clever little trick to you here to help you to recognise the pattern when you're multiplying by these numbers, okay? So I know that 3 times by 50 is 150. It's shown me. Now these grids are similar to the grid that you looked at in question 2. It's just that the numbers are slightly bigger and therefore your answers are going to be a little bit bigger. That's all. So it's nothing scary. It's just that you've gone up to 2 digits instead of 1, okay? And the digits are a little bit bigger. So if I move on to the next slide, I can show you a little trick, a little pattern that'll help you to do the rest of these questions. So I know that 3 times 5 is 15. Now, when I times 3 by 50, it will immediately make that number 150. So if you look here, I'll just cross this out. If you were to cross out the 0 on the 50 and the 0 on the 150, your answer is still the same, okay? It's just that because we've gone up and you've got 5 10s instead of 5 1s, it turns the 15 into 150, okay? Now, if we have a look at 6 times 5, we all know that 6 times 5 equals 30. But 6 times 50 is going to be 300 because you've got 5 10s. It's making your answer bigger, okay? So just making it bigger than the original number when you're multiplying the 6 and the 5 together, okay? So little trick there to help you. I want you to have a go at doing them on your own. If you are finding that they're tricky, just have a go at working them out without the 10s. So have a go at looking at them as if they were 1-digit numbers, and then you can see the pattern of it getting bigger by adding the 0 onto the end because it's 100 times bigger. Okay, so have a go, give it your best shot. If you are struggling, please let me know, okay? Right, moving on. Now, that is the whole workbook there. So we've just had a look at the whole page for page 12 in your workbook for today. But my challenge to you is to have a go at completing the number tracks on this slide, okay? So can you complete these number tracks of the 7 times table? Now, I know a lot of you aren't too confident on your 7 times table, and because today's theme is multiplication, I would like you to have a go at these number tracks, okay? Now it shouldn't take too long because you've only got to fill in the ones that are missing, okay? These ones that I'm marking in red are the ones that you need to find the answers to, okay? So I just want you to have a quick go of them, fill them in, and as always, please send it in to the Year 4 email address that I have put here down below on the slide, just in case you've forgotten what it is, although I'm sure you won't have because you're all superstars and you've been sending your work in. So please have a go at that challenge. If there's anything from today's lesson that you are stuck on or you'd need more help with, please let me know and I can try my best to get back in touch with you. And I hope you have a lovely Tuesday, okay? And I'll see you later. Bye.